mantras of our Lord Sri Aurobindo. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says a total surrender and exclusive self-opening to the divine influence, a constant and integral choice of the truth and rejection of the falsehood. These are the only conditions made. But these must be fulfilled entirely, without reserve, without any evasion or pretense, simply and sincerely, down to the most physical consciousness and its workings. With always our love and blessings, says our Lord Sri Aurobindo. Sri Aurobindo's Savitri. These lines are taken from an early version of our Lord Sri Aurobindo's Savitri. Out of the paths of the morning star they came, forerunners of a divine multitude, faces that were the immortal's glory still, voices that communed with the thoughts of God, bodies made beautiful by the Spirit's light, the sun-eyed children of a marvelous dawn, the great creators with wide brows of calm, the massive barrier breakers of the world, and wrestlers with destiny in her list of will, the laborers in the quarries of the gods, the messengers of the incommunicable, the architects of immortality. Into the mortal's fallen sphere they came, carrying the magic word, the mystic fire, carrying the cup of Dionysian joy, approaching eyes of a diviner man, lips chanting an unknown anthem of the soul, feet echoing in the corridors of time, even as man once came behind the beast. After us there shall come a greater race, high priest of wisdom, sweetness, might, and bliss, and runners upon beauty's sunlit ways, and swimmers of love's laughing fiery floods, and dancers within rapture's golden doors, whose tread one day shall change the suffering earth and justify the light on nature's face. #21st Feb, our Divine Mother's birthday. Messages given by our Divine Mother on the Divine Mother's birthday, 1958, 21st Feb. To celebrate the birth of a transitory body can satisfy some faithful feelings. To celebrate the manifestation of the eternal consciousness can be done at every moment of the universal history. But to celebrate the advent of a new world, the supramental world, is a marvelous and exceptional privilege. Words of our Lord Sri Aurobindo on the Mother. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, the Mother's consciousness is the divine consciousness, and the light that comes from it is the light of the divine truth. One who receives and accepts and lives in the Mother's light will begin to see the truth on all planes, mental, vital, physical. He will reject all that is undivine. The undivine is the falsehood, the ignorance, the error of the dark forces. The undivine is all that is obscure and unwilling to accept the divine truth and its light and force. The undivine, therefore, is all that is unwilling to accept the divine light and force of the Divine Mother. Allah Sri Aurobindo says, that is why I am always telling you to keep in contact with the Divine Mother and her light and force, because it is only so that you can come out of this confusion, obscurity, and receive the truth that comes from above. When we speak of the Mother's light or my light in a special sense, says our Lord, we are speaking of a special occult action. We are speaking of certain lights that come from the supermind. In this action, the Mother's is the white light that purifies, illumines, brings down the whole essence and the power of the truth and makes the transformation possible. But in fact, all light that comes from above, from the highest divine truth, is the Divine Mother's. There is no difference between the Mother's path and mine. We have and always had the same path that leads to the supramental change and the divine realization, not only at the end but from the beginning. They had been the same, says our Lord Sri Aurobindo. Our Divine Mother says there are two complementary aspects of the liberating action of the divine grace upon earth among men. There are two aspects that are equally indispensable but are not equally appreciated. The sovereign, immutable peace that liberates from anxiety, tension, and suffering. The dynamic, all powerful progress that liberates from fetters, bondage, and inertia. The peace is universally appreciated and recognized as divine, but the progress is welcomed only by those whose aspiration is intense and courageous, says our Divine Mother. Our Divine Mother says, the complete unification of the whole being around the psychic center is an essential condition to realize a perfect sincerity. It is only when the supramental manifests in the body-mind that its presence can be permanent. The more we advance on the way, the more the need of the divine presence becomes imperative and indispensable. Beyond man's consciousness, beyond speech, O the supreme consciousness, unique reality, divine truth. A life consecrated to the union with the divine is only life worth living. Needless to say that those who aspire to truth must abstain from telling lies. A veil behind the heart, a lid over the mind divides us from the divine. A veil behind the heart, a lid over the mind divides us from the divine. Love and devotion rend the veil. In the quietude of the mind, the lid thins and vanishes. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says one must rely on the divine and yet do some enabling sadhana. The divine gives the fruits not by the measure of the sadhana but by the measure of the soul and its aspiration. Also, worrying does no good. I shall be this, I shall be that. What shall I be? Say, I am ready to be not what I want, but what the divine wants me to be. All the rest should go on that base, says our Lord Sri Aurobindo. Our Divine Mother says, truth is a difficult and strenuous conquest. One must be a real warrior to make this conquest, a warrior who fears nothing, neither enemies nor death, for, with, or against everybody, with or without a body, the struggle continues and ends by victory. Even the body shall remember the divine. In the immutable peace that can make possible eternity of existence. The best possible way is to allow the divine grace to work in you, never to oppose it, never to be ungrateful, turn against it, but to follow it always to the goal of light and peace and unity and Ananda, says our Lord Sri Aurobindo.
Waiting at our gates for our call to come down upon earth. Ce monde merveilleux de félicité à nos portes qui attend notre appel pour descendre sur la terre.
On this auspicious day of our Divine Mother's birthday, words of our Divine Mother taken from Volume 2 of the Books of the Divine Mother Collective Works, words of long ago, topic the divinity within. Our Divine Mother says, all in us that is not wholly consecrated to the divinity within us is in the possession by fragments of the whole entirety of things that encompass us and act upon what we improperly call ourselves, whether through the intermediary of our senses or directly on the mind by suggestion. The only way to become a conscious being is to be oneself, is to unite with the divine self. That is all. For that, we must, by the aid of concentration, isolate ourselves from the external influences. Our Divine Mother says, when you are one with the divinity within, you are one with all things in their depths. And it is through it and by it that you must enter into relation with them. You are then, but without attraction or repulsion, near to whatever is near to it and far from whatever is far. Living among others, you should always be a divine example, an occasion offered to them to understand and to enter on the path of the life divine. Nothing more. You should not even have the desire to make them progress, for that too would be something arbitrary. Until you are definitely one with the divinity within, The best way in your relations with the outside is to act according to the unanimous advice given by those who have themselves had the experience of this unity. To be in a state of constant benevolence, with this as your rule, not to be troubled by anything, and not to be the cause of trouble to others, not to inflict suffering upon them so far as possible, says our Divine Mother. Next subtopic, on the mysteries of the ascent towards God. Our Divine Mother says, to judge the events of history, a certain distance is needed. Similarly, if one knows how to rise high enough above the material contingencies, one can see the terrestrial life as a whole. From that moment, it is easy to realize that all the efforts of mankind converge towards the same goal. It is true that collectively or individually, men follow very different paths to reach it. Some of these paths twist and turns so much that they seem at very first sight to move away from the goal rather than to lead towards it. But all are going there, consciously or unconsciously, swiftly or more slowly. What then is the goal? It is one with the purpose of man's life and his mission in the universe. The goal, call him what you will, for to the wise he is the possessor of all names. The purpose of man's life is to become conscious of that truth. His mission is to manifest it. All religions, all teachings of the sages are nothing other than methods to reach to this goal. They can be classified into three principal categories. First, intellectual, the love of truth, the search for the absolute by discernment, study, reflection, analysis, control, and concentration of the thought. One dispels the illusion of personality, a rill of atoms in a single substance which is itself nothing but an appearance, a condensation of the ether. When we say myself, what do we speak of? The body, the sensations, the feelings, the thoughts, all has no stability. A Divine Mother says the appearance of continuity comes from a rigorous determinism obtaining in each of these realms of the being, and into this determinism there enter as many external as internal agents. Where then is the self? That is to say, something permanent, constant, ever the same? In order to find it, to find this absolute, we must proceed from depth to depth, from relativity to relativity, for all that is in form is relative until we reach that which is unthinkable to our reason, unutterable to our language, but knowable by identification, for we carry that in ourselves. It is the very center and life of our being. Second method, the love of God. It is the method of those who have a developed religious sense. Aspiration towards the divine essence of all things that we have perceived in a moment of integral illumination. Then self-consecration to this divine essence, to this eternal law, integral self-giving at every moment, in all one's actions and thoughts. Complete surrender. One is now only a docile instrument, a faithful servant before the Supreme Master. The love is so complete that it causes a detachment from all that is not divine, absolute and perfect concentration on Him.
By the expression of a long cherished wish, that of becoming an Indian citizen. From the first time I came to India in 1914, I felt that India is my true country, the country of my soul and spirit. I had decided to realize this wish as soon as India would be free. But I had to wait still longer because of my heavy responsibilities for the ashram here in Pondicherry. Now the time has come when I can declare myself. But in accordance with Sri Aurobindo's ideal, my purpose is to show that truth lies in union rather than in division. To reject one nationality in order to obtain another is not an ideal solution. So I hope I shall be allowed to adopt a double nationality. That is to say, to remain French while I become an Indian. I am French by birth and early education. I am Indian by choice and predilection. In my consciousness, there is no antagonism between the two. On the contrary, they combine very well and complete one another. I know also that I can be of service to both equally. For my only aim in life is to give a concrete form to Sri Aurobindo's great teaching. And in his teaching, he reveals that all the nations are essentially one and meant to express the divine unity upon earth through an organized and harmonious diversity.
Our Divine Mother says, besides, it is impossible to rise higher than that, for love itself is a veil between the lover and the beloved. Identification. Third method, the love of humanity. As a consequence of a clear vision and intense perception of the immense suffering of humanity, there arises the resolution to consecrate oneself entirely to making this suffering cease. Self oblivion in the giving of all one's thoughts, all one's energies, all one's activities to succor others in however small a degree, with your hearts overflowing with compassion, go forth into this world, torn by pain, be instructors, and whatever the darkness of ignorance rules, there light a torch. This consecration to humanity manifests in four domains. One can give to others in four ways: material gifts, intellectual knowledge, spiritual gifts, harmony, integral gift, which can be made only by those who have followed the first three paths, who have synthesized within themselves all the methods of development, of becoming conscious of that which is eternal, the gift of example. The example is which is not self conscious, which is that one gives because one lives in the eternal divine consciousness.